Hey everyone, Rob from Southgate Media Group here. Before we get started with this podcast, we have a quick message. If this is your first time checking out the show, we love that you found us and we really hope you enjoy it. What we have to say is for the subscribers, if you enjoy our shows, would you please donate to help keep these going? We don't want to have to put traditional ads on these shows, but this does cost money, so we really do rely heavily on donations. To make a donation to the show, please go to our website, www.southgatemediagroup.com. Go to the page for the show, and in the upper right-hand corner is a donate button. It takes you right to PayPal, and you can donate whatever amount you want. Thanks a lot for listening, everybody. And now, on with the show.
Dedicated to all things heroes related. Up for discussion today is episode 403, Acceptance.
Yes.
Like, somehow that just doesn't even sound optimistic. It's just like,
No. We've accepted that we're not going to get a fifth season at this point.
No, I don't think it was actually at this point. I think it was actually like episode 8 when when the networks decided that it was like, if you're
we'll just wait until the end of the season.
Doesn't do well, and it didn't. You're done. But anyway, so yeah, let's just get into this clusterfuck of an episode, and I'll start with the technical specs. Like, this episode actually shouldn't be as blah as it is because it was written by Brian Fuller.
Yeah, definitely.
Directed by Chris Misiano, and the original air date for this is October 5th, 2009. Hey, that's my bestie's birthday.
Oh. So, let's get the synopsis out the way. Hiro distracts himself by helping others and in the process learns to accept his own situation. Angela helps Nathan remember his past, but instead uncovers a long-buried secret. Tracy seeks out her old job, but wants to do more to help people. Noah begins to drift back to his old life. Yay.
Also, Samuel looks for new family members. The only thing that I would add to that in major plot points and developments. People, places, and or things you need to know. Tadashi and Kelly Houston. Tadashi is the man who just can't keep it in his pants, quite literally.
Is it his... when I was live tweeting this, I was like, did he do his butt or was it something else? Because the way he made it seem like it was something else.
Yeah, I think one of them was his butt, and then like it just kept progressing.
He was just like, yeah, now I'll do the elbow. I'm really ashamed about my elbow. Now, until the end where it was just like, yeah, straight up my peep.
Yeah, and then Kelly
Houston.
I just want to say Hudson.
Millie's.
Yeah, Millie's daughter.
Yes.
Why she looked like that lady from Game of Thrones. Lena Headley or whatever.
Okay. Yeah.
All kinds of mess. But yeah, so she's the chick that gets into the accident in the flashback and sets a whole bunch of crap in motion. But anyway, where do you want to start in this video?
I've got like a lot of notes on Hiro, but a lot of it is just me being angry at him. So we'll leave him till last because the rest of it I'm just gonna do little posts. Yeah. I guess there's only one thing I really kind of want to bring up about Peter. I like Peter in this episode. I like Peter in these first couple of episodes because he's just saving people and he's not taking credit for it. It's kind of like there's a nice duality between him and Hiro. Like, Hiro's going out of his way to kind of save people and make it known that he's saving people with the whole Dialer Hero thing. But whereas Peter's going the other way and he's just like saving people and not really, taking any credit for it. He just has his wall of weird is the only thing that I can say. But I do like the part where it feels very season 1 at one point when him and Cy Nathan are talking and Cy Nathan is basically just showing him his powers and Peter's just like, well, yeah, I don't have enough time for you. I've got to go save some other people, so I'll see you in a bit, yeah? It's very season 1, but the roles have been reversed and I really like that. What do you think about Peter and Cy Nathan?
Oh, man. Just when you thought Peter just couldn't get, any more unbearable, this new obsession of his kicks in, and it's just ugh. I actually like Side Nathan for like the first half of the season.
Okay.
So
before he becomes Sylar again.
Yeah. Because it feels to me like he's really trying, like he knows deep down in his gut that something isn't right, but he likes having his family. And I think if Peter would have been nicer to him, maybe the whole Sylar thing would have never happened, is all that I'm saying.
There's this quick quip that he uses when he's talking to Sir Nathan, and he says, I guess it runs in the family. And that kind of explains why I think he's not like, oh, look, you've got all these powers now, because he just feels like it's just...
Did he never find out that his abilities were synthetic? Because I don't think Peter actually knew that.
I don't know if he did. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. But I do like that quick kind of quip. Because I know a lot of people would probably just be like, well, why isn't he making a bigger deal out of this? And why isn't he jealous? Well, he wouldn't be.
It's Nathan, and Nathan has just been the crappiest brother since the show opened. Yeah. So it's just like, I don't have time for your problems, bro. You didn't have time for mine. You tried to exterminate us all. Yeah. I'm just trying to live and let live, but I don't really want to look at your face, is the way that I took it.
There was that season 2 where, you know, it was Peter who was being saved by Nathan, but I think a lot of people forgot about season 2.
Well, no, it's not even that. That was just contrived for the sake of being contrived, because they were trying to bring the character of Nathan around, and they just really realized Adrian Pasdar plays a perfect bastard.
Definitely, yeah. So we might as well get on to Sir Nathan and his quote-unquote storyline, which is only really there to kind of give... To me, it's only there just to bring back the kind of Sylar part of him. And by Sylar, I mean the face of Sylar, and not... Because without Sylar, the kind of personality, it feels like they're always going to be a mix of Sylar and Gabriel and Nathan. And this episode only really existed for... Well, that storyline only really existed for Sylar or Sir Nathan to kind of die and be reborn as Zachary. Yeah, be reborn as Zachary Quinto or Sylar reborn. I'm sure the Sami would have loved that, but yes.
Yeah, they would have went nuts. It did feel very forced and shoved in. It's like Angela shows up with a bunch of his stuff, and it's like, this is not a good... It felt like a setup to me. It's like she wanted him to know.
Yeah, it was really weird how she brought it all back. Like, she's the main reason why he remembered, because she gave him that cap. But then at the end of the day, who did she really know that he was wearing that cap at the time?
Well, I don't know. You know. Angela is always really shady. So it's like she gave him that look when she looked, and she's like, what is it, darling, when he touched the baseball cap?
Yeah, who knows? I don't think they never really got round to explaining that, but yeah. She just felt like a means to an end. I do like the fact that she's obviously trying to, like Parkman said that he's not going to help her at this point anymore. So she's just trying to give Sir Nathan more ammunition to remember kind of Nathan's life and try and push that dominant part of the personality through. It just backfired really badly. And yeah.
Yeah. Well, we'll get to that when it gets more interesting, I guess.
Yep. I guess we can do a quick one on Tracy, because she, much like kind of HRG at this moment. It's not that they're rudderless, but they're kind of HRG. We obviously know and we all love, so that's all well and dandy. We can much like Hiro, we can kind of forgive this kind of backwards and forwards. Because we know him as a character, both of them as a character. But with Tracy, we only really know her from season 3. And what we do know is not really that much. We know that she's kind of selfish and she's very self-serving. And just seeing her go through this kind of identity crisis and realizing that, you know, her life isn't as good as it once was. Why do I care? The only reason I've seen her is she's just been kind of not whining, but she's very
aimless.
Yes, and that's not no dig on Ali Lata. It's a dig on the writers and the character of Tracy. And I don't know if they meant it to be that way because of what happens kind of in later episodes, or if they just stumbled upon it. But yeah,
I vote for stumble.
Yeah. as with most things Hiro related. This isn't the one where she goes back to her boss.
Yeah, it is.
This is the one where she goes back. Yeah.
And then he like tries to go, hey, never mind all that. You're too pretty. Let's go upstairs and have a little fun. And she's just like, Frack, I'm trying to be serious here, man. A little too late for that.
Okay. So, speaking of Tracy, let's go on to Noah, because it seems like a really weird relationship that they have at this moment. Like, you know, she tried to kill him, and now she's seeking his advice. It's really weird, but they're both kind of aimless at this moment. Like, at the beginning, he's kind of having this crisis of faith, and he doesn't believe what he's done has been much good, because he's just... And that's kind of setting up where they're going to go with him in the next couple of episodes. Him and Tracy, you know, they don't really know what they're doing with their lives, and they're both at different stages, and by different stages I mean ages, and it's nice for HRG to have someone to kind of give advice to, especially in his kind of lonely life that he's living now.
Ooh, those divorce papers were like, I was like, yay for Sandra, oh, my little baby Noah, but you deserve it.
Definitely. But the Peter obviously comes to him at the beginning for his help, and he just says no, and he says something along the lines of, oh, you think it's going to be some, you know, you're going to hook me back into this big conspiracy theory. And having his conversations with kind of like Tracy shows him that he kind of does have a path, and that leads him at the end of the episode to kind of getting back into the kind of conspiracy of it all, and he's back, quote unquote, in the game and looking for Edgar, which would obviously lead him to Samuel. But yeah.
I mean, Claire's there, and that was the only like really bright spot in the whole episode with HRG, I guess intentionally so, and even that had a little bit of tension to it. Mm-hmm. So it's just like, oh man, this is like sad, lonely bachelor man. I don't want to see this.
Is it? I think it's I kind of like seeing not like seeing him sad bachelor man, but it's good for him to be like living with what he's done, and what he's done is like, you know, obviously not look after these people who he said he was going to look after, like these people who he was bagging and tagging, which we'll obviously see in later episodes, him trying to fix that. And also just the devastation that he's caused with his family. He's still got a fairly good relationship with Claire at this point, but obviously, you know, him and Sandra have hit the skids, and it's kind of not nice, but it's kind of karma, I guess, because especially with what happened in kind of the last season with Sandra. It's the only way I can put it. So yeah. Is this the one where they have it where she interviews him about becoming a lumber salesman?
Yeah, she does.
Oh yeah.
It's just like, oh, you're just gonna do the raw form of paper? Okay, I see where we're going with this. Should have been the box factory. They just missed an opportunity.
Definitely. And when she's interviewing him about, when she mentions lumber and selling lumber, the only thing I thought of was like the season finale of Dexter, and I was like, no, just shaking my head going,
he's in the corner, like, no memories.
Yeah. Just no memories, with a bowl of cereal in front of him. And so yeah. So we might as well
let's get to
Hiro.
Oh, Hiro's a hot mess at this point.
Well, let's be honest, we know, like, he's got this dying kind of storyline, and we know where it's going to go. He's not going to die, because he is one of the bright sparks of the show most of the time, and we've not been we've kind of been conditioned to realize that, you know, unless you're a guest star or something like that, then your job is pretty much safe. Like, even if you're Ali Lata, you know, you've got another twin to kind of, another triplet to come back on if you die. So yeah.
And they never got around to that other triplet, did they? No. How do I have a feeling it's going to show up in Heroes Reborn, working at Renatus?
Yeah, but she's just got like that one braid in her hair. That's the way that we know that it's her. But I want to talk about, this is the one where he changes the past, right? Or
no, he doesn't start on that. What he does is it's Tadashi calls up the Dial Hero line. But before that, they're like, Kimiko goes, you know, hey, let's, you know, live and let live. We're both adults. We're the last of the Nakamuras. And Ando and I are getting married. Hey, I want you to walk me down the aisle. I didn't even know they really did that in Japan, but okay.
Yeah, and also that's going to be quite a job for him, because not only is he going to have to walk her down the aisle, but he's also going to have to be Ando's best man. I'm assuming, yeah. So yeah. I thought a way around this, and the way around this was obviously he would tell Kimiko, which he does at the end of the episode, that he's dying, and then just be like, "I'll see you in the future," and then like skip ahead 1 year in the future, walk down the aisle, and come back just on the off chance, just in case he doesn't make it. So he could have done that, but yeah. I guess we can move on to this kind of Tadashi. I find it really weird that they're making this guy's suicide attempts as like the comic relief, because it shouldn't.
I didn't feel like comic relief to me. It felt like kind of that dark, almost that dark humor. But like, because it's Japan and they do kind of have that whole situation about, death and dishonor, like, but this guy is just like kind of young and flopping around, very much how I imagine Hiro to be if he wasn't a Nakamura in the head of his father's company.
Definitely. Well, he's not. Let's be honest. He's not really the head of the company. Kimiko's looking after it now, especially after
name only, but still.
Yeah, last season he was just running around as a 10-year-old. But yeah, obviously Tadashi's kind of suicide attempts are basically what it allows Hiro to accept his own demise, and even though he's accepting of his death, he's making it even quicker by kind of doing this bucket list that he kind of starts to think about. Is he kind of, I don't know if he's he says he's accepted it, but at the same time, is he just doing all this kind of time traveling quickly, knowing that it's gonna like basically kill him quicker? And that's what it seems like to me.
Yeah.
But this storyline is essentially just Hiro accepting, well, not accepting, but it's just Hiro realizing once again that he doesn't need his powers to kind of save someone. It's not his powers that save him, it's him talking to him and empathizing with him which saves him.
Yeah, exactly. It was just like, oh, Groundhog Day, how sweet.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was just weird, like, that they chose to do this to Hiro. Like, he's literally always on a side quest, never in the main foray.
Yeah. It was only really season 1 where he was in the main foray, really. Just that whole Sylar thing. But after that, he's not really had a kind of spotlighted moment, I guess. But at the end of the day, he's always the one who kind of fixes everything. Like, he's the one who kind of gets the formula and destroys, he's the one who kind of gets the formula in season 2 and gets the catalyst in season 3. But he always is that kind of last minute hero when he shouldn't be. He should be building towards being future hero, which I think a lot of people were kind of disappointed about.
Yeah,
so yeah,
exactly. I don't know, like, it was just like, it was weird. Like, I like the him and Kimiko and him and Ando stuff, but the him and Tadashi, it was just really weird and awkward, especially for a show like Heroes.
Yeah, definitely, yeah. I think that's basically...
Okay, so we have to talk about Nathan going to Millie's house, and then, like, Millie and Angela have dinner, and Millie is like, I'm not buying your garbage! And then, like, we see Nathan in his car.
The hitman.
Yeah, the guy shoots him up with something and drags him off. And then, like, at the same time, like, they're cutting back and forth between this dinner, and Millie's like, a toast to closure, and I'm like, oh, snaps.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
And then also, we do spend just a little bit of time at the carnival where Lydia goes to see Edgar, and she's like, yo, what's up with you? And she's like, the new people that you want to bring in, and then Edgar's like, Samuel wouldn't be doing this if Joseph were still alive, and then, like, Samuel's like, what'd you say, bitch?
Yeah. Creeper Samuel just waiting as soon as he hears his name. She's like, "What? What you got beef? Come tell it to me."
I'm a vegetarian. That was just too funny. And then, like, so he starts to do the thing with the paint on the tattoo on her back, and then we see Noah, and Samuel's like, why do we see Noah's face? And then Lydia's like, oh, I guess he changed his mind. And I'm like, oh man, this is worse than Angela's dreams at this point.
And then it cuts. I'm sure that's the point where it cuts back to Noah looking for Edgar. Like, he started making his wall of weird, and that's probably why. Yeah, the thing about the carnival is that it's kind of like a background presence at the moment, and I kind of like that because they're not like being pushed down as, like, at the moment they're not being pushed as the bad guys. They're just this kind of ragtag kind of side plot at the moment, which you don't really really know how they're going to start implementing them until, they start
like
doing
3 episodes to the last.
Yeah.
Honestly, that's when everything really starts to rev up, other than him trying to like visit all of our heroes, basically. But the very last shot that we see in this episode is, as like the quote unquote killer drives away to kill Nathan, we see Siler in his real form emerge from the ground, and it was like, oh snaps, he's back. Yeah. What shenanigans is this gonna be?
It's Siler Villain's hair for Siler, which I'm sure you love. That kind of long slick back
the Peter
hair.
Dude. So, the season 1 Peter Dude. I'm like, why did they switch hair? I don't understand. This episode was a mess. I'm not even gonna lie.
Yeah, especially for a Brian Fuller one. He usually knows what he's doing, but I think obviously they've just said, look, this is a kind of doo-doo episode, and it's a filler kind of to get from. The thing I like is that we know that Nathan is Siler, and they're not making any bones about it. They're just going straight to him going back to kind of being Siler. And I kind of like that. There's no like pussyfooting around it, and there's no like long build to it, because it is quite a doo-doo story, to be honest. So yeah.
It is. So we couldn't do anything better than this. Okay, fine. We'll try to make it up to him.
There is something else that I wanted to kind of bring up. It's a really nitpicky thing, but every time Hiro goes back in time, he always goes back to the point where
he got the phone call, right?
And he got the phone call, but he didn't leave at that point. So surely he should be kind of coming back into himself, if you get me, because his past self hasn't left that point yet. It always goes back to that certain point where Ando is typing an email, which I really wanted to know what it said. But he left like about 2 minutes, like just say 2 minutes after that. But he always, future kind of Hiro, comes back to that point. So that kind of time travel whoopie doop just doesn't make sense to me. But
hashtag editor's problems. Let's just get into the review. Who was your favorite character in this episode?
I am gonna go with, I don't even know. You tell me first so I can kind of think about it.
I have 2 joke answers, and then I have a serious answer. Tadashi and Millie, and then Noah.
Yeah. How comes Noah?
Like, he's having a midlife crisis, basically. And a crisis of faith. Definitely. And, he's just this, like, he has nothing but Claire now, and it's just so sad, but it's also really interesting to see what, like, he doesn't basically have the baggage of the family anymore. He could literally be more BAMF than he ever was as a company man now. So, like, at that point in the series, when I was live watching, I was like, oh, this has so many possibilities. I wonder where they're going to take him. Is he going to just be a cold-blooded killer? No remorse?
Yeah, and we saw how that went out. But I'm probably going to go with, I kind of like Stone Cold Peter. I know you don't, but I really like him. Like, I think he's kind of progressed quite well throughout the series now. Like, I didn't see it at the first, but I really like how he's progressed, like, to being that kind of naive child, and now he's essentially Nathan, and there's only kind of one other person who's kind of able to bring him back, and that is the character of Emma, and she only really serves at this point. At this point, she only really serves to kind of be someone for him to talk to, but I really like, him just like fobbing off his brother and saying, look, I've got more people to save, get out, basically. So yeah, I really like him, and I kind of like him being like a stone cold, not killer, but like just stone cold with his brother, because it's about time his brother got a bit of his just desserts. So yeah. How about character interactions?
Millie and Angela, hands down, because that is some straight up cold-hearted socialite shiznak right there.
Yeah, definitely. I think I'm going to go with Claire and Noah, and when she's kind of interviewing him, I really like the kind of back and forth. They've really got really good chemistry at the moment, and I like the fact that it's finally like Claire's the one who's kind of looking after him, because he's like a lost little child at this moment. I really like that kind of the switch in dynamic, and she's the one who's kind of got her head's kind of screwed on, and I really like it. And it kind of rubs off on him because he starts, how you talked about how she was kind of a specials counselor, and after after this, he starts to become kind of a specials counselor. So yeah, I kind of like the dynamic between them both. So yeah.
Okay. What's next? Scene. That's what was your favorite scene?
I don't know why I thought about it, but just not even. It's not a scene. It's just a moment, and it's every time that Tadashi says goodbye, and he kind of waves. He does this like really weird wave and a smile, and then just jumps off. It's really weird, but I really like it. So yeah, how about you?
My favorite scene is actually Tracy with the governor, where she's like, I want to make a real difference, and then he like calls her a tiger lady and says, "Hey, let's go upstairs and celebrate." And she just
all that was missing was missing was him like slapping her on the butt as she got up. But yeah,
I know, right? I was like, this is so Mad Men. I love it. But yeah, and then I liked her reaction. So it was like the first time that I was like, okay, Tracy, I see potential in you.
Actually, no, I might have to go with my favourite scene being, I've just remembered this, but Hiro kind of telling Kimiko that he's dying. I know we didn't get like anything really substantial, but him saying, I have so many stories to share with you, Kimiko. I just hope I have time to tell you all. And then you've got Ando looking at it from the outside and then them hugging. I really liked that. It was a really nice, sweet and tender moment, especially where Kimiko's quite... in the past couple of episodes, apart from when she's like got together with Ando, she's quite harsh and she's very reminiscent of George Takei's kind of what was the heroes? Kaito Nakamura. She's very stone cold. I like it. So yeah.
Okay. What about lines?
I'm going to go with Claire and Noah. Okay, you're the interview. Okay, say you're at an interview and I'm the interviewer and you're the interviewee. Oh. Are we really? Tell me, Mr. Bennett, what do you think your greatest strength as a salesman in? Well, if you don't buy from me, I can always shoot them. Yeah, I really like that. How about you?
It's a toss-up. For me, it's like Nathan says this to Angela. Every time there's a secret buried someplace, I find you with a shovel behind your back. Angela, you should write Mother's Day cards. And then Claire says this to Noah, and Noah says this to Tracy. Maybe you have to remember who you were to figure out who you want to be. I was like, oh, she gave him advice, and then he passed off as his own. Oh.
So, trivia.
Oh, Time for that grade. Time for that grade.
I'm gonna go for a D plus. I'm being generous with this D plus, but yeah, that's all I can really say about it. Because this, at the end of the day, this is just a transition / filler episode. So yeah, how about you?
I'm gonna just be straight up honest and go D minus. D is in dog. As in dog crap. Like, I was just like, the hell? We're at season 4. We should be past all these mistakes. This should be smooth sailing at this point. And it's just mess after mess after mess.
Yeah. I don't really have any trivia.
Oh, I do.
So yeah, I'll go on.
Okay, this is Millie, aka Swooshy Kurt's second appearance, and Brian Fuller wrote both episodes in which she appears in. Because they work together on Pushing Daisies.
Pushing Daisies. Yes. Okay, so we're going to go into the comics now, and the thing about the comics is that they're kind of telling a separate story from now on. They're kind of telling a separate story from the rest of the show and bringing in a character into it, and they're using the webisodes and the graphic novels to kind of tell the story about this character called Amanda, who was basically Lydia's daughter, who was much like Claire, passed off onto someone else, and obviously like Sila, So this episode is called Boom, and it's set in the past, and it's basically HRG and Meredith, and they're on a mission to bag and tag Amanda. Amanda's been quote unquote acting out, and there's lots of like kind of exploded kind of fires near everything around her. There's a difference of opinion between the both of them about what they should do. Meredith obviously sympathizes because they kind of have similar powers, and HRG is just like, we just need to bag and tag her, and that's it. We're just going to leave her. And basically they get a text message saying another thing's kind of popped up, and it's a code red, and they have to go, and they kind of end up just leaving Amanda, and that's the end of that. There is no trivia, so yes.
This one was written by Faz McDermott, and the art was by Ryan Ogadawa. And the Easter egg is a behind-the-scenes photo of Hayden Panettiere with short hair, no care do.
Next up, we have the live tweet. It's the following people either tweeting, retweeting, or faving during the live tweets. We have L_Bishop_, English Idiot 101, Paraceline, and Soft_Guitar 60. Oh, thank you very much.
Looks like it's time for some shameless plugs and self-promotion. We'll start with the show contact info. We here at Primatech Files love listener feedback. If you would like to get a hold of us, we have a ton of ways. You can email us via primatechfiles@gmail.com. You can leave us a private message or interact with our posts over on facebook.com/primatechfiles. We live tweet 2 episodes per week every Saturday starting at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. For more information, be sure to follow us on Twitter at primatechfiles. You can also find us on Clamor, Tumblr, and YouTube by simply searching for Primatech Files. If you enjoy this podcast, be sure to rate, review, and subscribe to us on iTunes. What's that? You don't have an iTunes account? That's okay. We're on a lot of podcatcher services such as Stitcher and SoundCloud. All you have to do is search for, you guessed it, Primatech Files. We're also on Libsyn, and if you want to follow our RSS feed there, all you have to do is go to primatechfiles.libsyn.com and bookmark the site to stay up to date with this podcast. Libsyn is spelled Libsyn, just in case you were wondering. We look forward to interacting with you.
If you love our podcast, be sure to check out Southgate Media Group's iTunes provider page to see a list of what other podcasts are hot and trending in our network. Or you can take that one step further and visit southgatemediagroup.com, where you can find a full list of our 80-plus podcasts, along with weekly blogs and information about all the hosts. With so many podcasts that cover everything from anime to wrestling, there's sure to be tons of podcasts that can interest you.
Hey guys, you should know by now that you can find me on Twitter at Lilith Hellfire. If you have a Tumblr, be sure to check out it's lilithhellfire.tumblr.com. And of course, be sure to swing by my blog if you are a pop culture junkie or comic book geek at littlepopculturevulture.blogspot.com. I also host several other podcasts on the Southgate Media Group network. Some of them are The Flashpoint, Queen Consolidated, and Channel 52. So if you are into, obviously, DC comic book related stuff, be sure to check it out.
You can find my writings at tvbinges.com. It's a place for all your binge watching needs, and you can also create your own TV binge and we'll help promote it. We do a monthly binge watch, which you're more than welcome to join in. Just go to their Twitter at tvbinges just to find out more information. You can find me on Twitter at RickyJDiaz. That's RickyJDiaz, or Z if you're American.
And we're at the wrap up. Oh my god, I can't believe. I just wanted to be so positive about season 4, but I think I remember me liking episode 6 through the rest of the season a whole lot better, even though I did really like the premiere. So I don't know. I was wait a minute. All the stops started really hurt the ebb and flow of the season overall, I guess, is what it boils down to. But yeah, I think I'm going to be positive about the next few episodes, so look forward to that. Can't vouch for Ricky though.
Download the podcast and save the world.